Welcome to Radio Wasteland. Hello, my darlings. Welcome to Radio Wasteland, our own little experiment into the supernatural, the unknown, and the mysterious, and the conspiracious. I'm not sure if that's a word or not. This show covers all things crazy, unexplained, things that people don't want to know, things that people do want to know, things that go bump in the night. I'm your host, Chauncey Haworth. And sitting in for Christopher Robin, we got Matt Matlock. How's it going, Matt?
Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so here's our starting news for the day. A pot shop owner in Springfield, Massachusetts has gone viral after dressing up as a marijuana Sasquatch and crashing a live TV weather report. Dave Meck runs Potco, a gardening supply store. One of his promotional tools is a costumed character named, of all things, Potsquatch, a Bigfoot-esque creature covered with marijuana leaves. He saw a live weather report going on outside in his shop and decided to take advantage. Was this good or bad publicity? Well, I'm not entirely sure. Potsquatch managed to fall twice during his brief brush with television fame. A Boston area man set a new world record by pounding 38 nails into a board with his skull in under 2 minutes. Hammerhead John Ferrero smashed his way to record earlier this week on the Guinness World Records Italian show, a YouTube series in Italy. How'd he do this? Well, his skull is more than twice as thick as your average human's. Your average human's is 6.5 millimeters, and his is 16. Can you imagine the forehead on this guy?
I cannot.
In continuing disturbing news, people might have caught some of this on the news here lately. Doctors in Chengdu, China, had to remove a roach from the ear of a 60-year-old man on Friday.
Is this related to Potsquatch?
Well, I don't know. Do you have a theory?
I'm just wondering about the roach.
The bug crawled into his ear on February 1st and made itself at home. The man tried removing it by sticking toothpicks and tweezers into his ear, according to the South China Morning Post. After 3 of what I assume to be very long days, the frustrated man was able to kill the roach by spraying pesticide into his ear. The bug remains stuck inside. This follows an incident last week when a 42-year-old woman in India woke up in the middle of the night when a cockroach had crawled up her nose. This seems to be a reoccurring issue. It seems like the roaches are taking the earth back. On the lighter side, just in time for Valentine's Day, for $10, the Bronx Zoo in New York will let you name a Madagascar hissing cockroach after someone special. Your loved one will receive an emailed certificate announcing they've had a bug named for them. So, you got someone special there, Matt?
Well, myself, obviously.
Are you going to name a bug for yourself?
Maybe. I actually read that Nick Kroll and John Mulaney had bugs, two of these bugs named after them.
Really?
Yeah, in honor of their Oh Hello Broadway show.
Right. Is there some sort of comparison there that I'm not making?
Just pure respect.
For the roaches.
Yes.
Right. You know, the one that really stuck out to me was, although not conspiracy necessarily, is Potsquatch. You know, like, I realize that this is probably a good sales pitch for one's business, but I'm not sure it's doing a whole lot for the pot respect on the whole from the society around, seeing Potsquatch crash the news and fall repeatedly. And I don't know, it seems a little stereotypical for Potsquatch. But if you go to our website, radiowasteland.us, you can see some pictures of Potsquatch. And you can also follow up on the other news articles that we just covered here. So our show is about conspiracies and legends. Today we're going to cover, being from Northern California, probably one of the most famous, at least from around here, Bigfoot. And following up after that, we're going to cover the moon landings. I don't know if the two of these are connected, but our show in general in the future will cover everything from the JFK assassination to breakaway societies to ancient structures on the moon. Do you have a favorite conspiracy, Matt?
The Bigfoot on the moon one is my favorite one so
Bigfoot
far.
on the moon, Bigfoot on the moon. What do you think he breathes up there?
I'm not a scientist.
Right. Neither are most believers in Bigfoot on the moon. But there is a conspiracy that might fit that, and that is that there is a blue patch on the moon where oxygen is located, where people are able to breathe. I don't know if you've ever heard this one.
Not yet.
It is a massive world of crazy, crazy, crazy ideas out there. And the problem with being paranoid is every once in a while you're right. So be sure to tune in and check up with us every Monday night as we cover the strange and the odd and the crazy on Radio Wasteland. And be sure to give us a call at 530-605-4567 if you're interested in discussing any of the topics. And be sure to check us out on radiowasteland.us. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to move on to discussing Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a perfect topic for Reading. Really, Reading is my hometown, and there was really two topics that really could have been started as the perfect Reading starter, and the first is Bigfoot. Any guess what the next one was, Matt?
Lemurians.
That is absolutely correct. Everybody seems to know about Lemurians here, but when I talk to anybody outside of here, it seems to be a rare subject. I'm not sure if the Mount Shasta is cavernous. I've also heard that there is a pyramid inside Mount Shasta with an inverse pyramid on the other side going into another dimension. I'm not sure if that counts as a pyramid any longer or if that is a diamond mid in the middle of the mountain. I don't know. I've never met a Lemurian in person, and frankly, I haven't. I don't know what they look like. I think they're tall, blonde, blue-eyed. They look like people, giant Nordic people or something.
With luxurious robes?
Well, I mean, if you're going to, why go halfway, All right, so be sure to tune in with us for the next segment. And we'll be right back with our discussion on Bigfoot. Hello and welcome back to Radio Wasteland. So this is our very first topic. Being from Redding, California and broadcasting from Redding, California, seemed like Bigfoot is our best starting topic. Bigfoot, or the North American ape legends, are nothing new. Arguably, there have been stories going back for hundreds, even thousands of years. They're said to be, between 6 feet and 9 feet in height, muscular, hairy, ape-like in appearance with a foul, sulfury, garbage-like smell. I guess that could be me in some situations. Bigfoot hit the mainstream in 1967 with the release of a film by Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. This is probably the footage that comes to mind when anybody thinks of Bigfoot. It's an old, probably 8mm, maybe 16, but probably 8mm film of of Bigfoot walking away and looking back.
Back and to the left.
Yeah.
Back and to the left.
Right.
Back and to the left.
About 1/3 of all claims of Bigfoot sightings are located in the Pacific Northwest. That's us. With the remaining reports spread throughout the rest of North America. Also us. The first news-reported sighting we could find was in the summer of 1958 when giant footprints began appearing in the mud and dirt around lumber camps in the Red Bluff Creek Valley. Bulldozer operator Jerry Crew and his taxidermist friend Bob Tibbs made plaster casts of the footprints, and Crew was photographed for the newspapers with them. Reporters dubbed the unknown giant with the human-like footprints Bigfoot, and the name stuck. This was the beginning of Bigfoot as we know him today. Many have claimed that this evidence found by the men in the Bluff Creek area is unique and occurred before there was a Bigfoot legend from which to perpetuate a hoax. Most reports are considered mistakes or hoaxes, even by the researchers who maintain that Bigfoot exists. In 1965, Bigfoot was officially put on the endangered species list in Russia, and if that's not convincing enough, in 1967, Germany and France followed. If you're confronted by a Bigfoot, apparently offering it food will provide you with an 80% chance of survival. I find the statistic a little odd, seeing how there's so little evidence of the Bigfoot, but apparently 20% of the people who attempt to offer Bigfoot food die. While crying will provoke the animal to punch you in the face, apparently, according to Bigfoot Finder, a website dedicated to spotting the creature. Also, Texas veterinarian Melba Ketchum announced that her team of researchers had found Bigfoot DNA, but no science journal would publish the results. So, Bigfoot is one of those things that took off quickly. And, it may not seem quickly. We're talking about 1958, what is that, 58, 59 years ago. But in less than 60 years, we are dealing with a massive amount of Bigfoot legends. What is Bigfoot? Maybe it's just misidentification. Is it a bear with mange? That's a possibility. Is it some undiscovered creature? Is it all hoaxes? I don't find it unbelievable that the original one was a hoax as well. And then there's always the fallback on fear of things that go bump in the night. You put people out in the woods, you leave them out there, it's a dark night, they start to hear things, they start to see things, red eyes glowing, and they freak out. So let's play a little example of one of the things that might possibly terrify these people. We have an audio recording, supposedly, of the sounds that Bigfoot makes in the wild. I don't know about you, but I think if I was camping and I heard this going on in the wilderness, I would either be absolutely terrified or I would think that somebody was messing with me. I can definitely believe that in a time before mass media, I would be absolutely terrified. But in a time of media where we see so many people tricking people for entertainment and to put it online, I might not automatically cut to the assumption that I need to give this Bigfoot food for an 80% chance of survival. What's your take on Bigfoot, Matt? Are you a believer?
Oh, I believe if I meet the Bigfoot or a shark, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Right. Or start crying and get punched in the face.
Right now, I'll always have a granola bar on me.
Right.
Because I'd like to be in the winning 80%.
So I'm assuming you're somewhat of a skeptic when it comes to Bigfoot.
I believe anything is possible.
Right, yes. And I like to say this, too, that when it comes to just about any of these things, I don't believe. Now, that does not mean that I disbelieve. It's just that I don't believe. I need to be shown, and that's one of the reasons why I'm definitely interested in doing this show. I want to be shown. I want to put myself in a place where people look me in the eye or whisper in my ear, because I'm doing radio, and they convince me. So Bigfoot is one that I've had a hard time accepting, but there's a lot of possibilities about what Bigfoot actually is. Is he a wild man? Well, let me throw this out there first. Have you seen a Bigfoot? Do you know what Bigfoot is? If you do, give me a call at 530-605-4567 and tell me what you think. But in the meantime, Bigfoot could just be a wild man with freaky big feet and seriously horrible hygiene.
And yeah, exactly. Seriously, do the Bigfoot legends coincide with the old Yeti abominable snowman legends?
Yeah, I don't know how much crossover there is in migratory sort of things, but people definitely put Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, abominable snowman all in the same package of the wilderness ape man. The Yeti I find to be less likely to be a wild man because, it's cold, You think that if you did not figure out how to make shoes and an outfit, that you would probably not make it very long. So wild man is one of our possibilities. Stinky wild man. Probably the most openly accepted by squatchers, as they call themselves, people who enjoy trying to find Sasquatch, is Gigantopithecus, or an undiscovered primate species. Gigantopithecus was a prehistoric, I want to say 200,000, 300,000 years ago giant ape that stood about 9 feet tall. It really very much fits the mark. It looks a little orangutan-y in the face, and it definitely fits the mark. And so as far as visually sort of fitting what they say Bigfoot is, Gigantopithecus fits it. And as a science guy, I would probably fall back most on if somebody said this is true, now what do you think it is? I think I would say it's Gigantopithecus or some undiscovered giant ape.
You do see reports every once in a while of new species they're finding of prehistoric fish or
absolutely
things like that.
Yeah.
Insects that have been around forever.
Right, living fossils. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Or deep sea stuff. I mean, we don't even know what's down there.
Oh yeah, that is for sure. Another one that I find to be somewhat humorous, just because, although totally possible, is a giant prehistoric ground sloth. Like a Gigantopithecus, this really did exist, hundreds of thousands of years ago, and it also stood about 9 feet tall and did not go in the trees, and it was basically a big, slow-moving sloth. Now, a lot of sightings of Bigfoot say that he moves rather quickly. One claimed that they clocked him at 30 miles an hour running along the side of their car, which...
not very sloth-like.
Not very slothy, no. So I'm leaning away from the sloth. One of the newer ones that I really kind of like, but I find to be outside of the realm of what I'm really going for here is an alien or an interdimensional being that is coming here to mine for gold.
Sure.
And this seems to be a common thought of aliens coming to Earth, is to get gold.
They like the bling.
They like the bling. That's much better than the Nibiru needing it for its atmosphere, which is the other reason why aliens come here. Supposedly the gold helps their atmosphere, but I like to think they like the bling, Bigfoot with the chain. Mm-hmm. And the interdimensional being, definitely, that kind of makes sense. Why can't you find him? Well, he's not there anymore. He has gone back to his own dimension.
And try to disprove that. That's the thing.
Right. Yeah, good point. Good luck disproving that one. And then the final one tends to be that is a human hybrid. So this one kind of goes with the first two mixed together, wild man, Gigantopithecus. When a wild man and a Gigantopithecus love one another, you know the story.
With the right music, anything can happen.
With the right music, flowers, tomorrow's Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bigfoot is definitely one that, being from Northern California, I find is kind of close to my heart and something that I want to do. I like the idea that on a weekend getaway, I can go out there and go camping out in the woods and knock on some trees. This is one method that people do to try to get Bigfoot's attention. The theory is that Bigfoots communicate. I don't know if it's big feet or Bigfoots, but they communicate by knocking on trees. And so these guys will go out with a chunk of wood and knock on trees and listen and try to get a response back. There have been a lot of crazy attempts to get Bigfoot's attention. I saw one show. I'm not sure how to cover this in a friendly sort of fashion, of women who were on their cycle. A group of 15 of them went out in the woods hoping to draw Bigfoot's attention. That seems a little terrifying. But if you know about a Bigfoot and you have any Bigfoot sightings in Reading, give me a call at 530-605-4567. You're listening to Radio Wasteland. We'll see you soon. All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland. Give us a call if you're interested, 530-605-4567. That's 530-605-4567. Or check us out online at radiowasteland.us. So we're talking about the moon. The moon, it's been up there a long time. Scientists will tell you that the origin of the moon is that during the creation of the planet Earth, a Mars-sized planet hit Earth, smacked around, and whipped around, and came out the other side, and there we have the moon. One reason why they think this is because when we did land on the moon, they brought back moon rocks, and much to their surprise, the moon was made of the exact same things that the Earth was made of. So, the United States, that's us. Apollo 11 was the first manned mission to land on the moon on the 20th of July, 1969. There have been 6 manned U.S. landings between 1969 and 72, and numerous unmanned landings. We went to the moon not because it was hard, but because we had to outdo the Russians. Let's listen to what JFK had to say about that.
Despite the fact that this nation's own scientific manpower is doubling every 12 years in a rate of growth more than 3 times that of our population as a whole, the vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered still far outstrip our collective comprehension. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention, and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
As John F. Kennedy, our youngest, and from what my wife says, I think best-looking president. I'm sure those two had nothing to do with one another. So, the first question about the moon is, did we go to the moon?
At all, or just that
At all.
first landing?
Was the moon made in a Hollywood basement? Most likely, if so, by Stanley Kubrick. What do you think?
I like the documentaries about it.
I did too. I really liked the documentaries. My hard part with the argument of if we even went to the moon was, I really want to believe that we went to the moon. This is one of those things that inspired me as a kid, both on a fantasy level, on a science level, on a humanity level. Us going to the moon, even Sputnik and the first man in space, you know, it took me to this level of really sort of respecting humanity and the fact that we were really trying to do things just because they were there. Now, I look back now and I know that we didn't just do it because it was there. We did it as part of the Cold War. And this is not a conspiracy. This was definitely the case. We had the rockets and we had to prove with the support of the country, we had to prove to our enemies that our rockets were capable of getting to them. And when we showed that we could pinpoint the moon and land there, I think they got the point.
We won the space race there.
Yeah, we definitely won the space race. We weren't the first out of the gates, but we definitely crossed the finish line.
And I actually want to believe from the film geek level that it was all orchestrated by the hand of Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Paid for by the government.
Yeah. I
just for fun. Just
right.
Fun
Yeah. I definitely find some excitement in that too. Especially pre-CGI. The fact that
great special effects.
Right. Absolutely. My favorite thing about the moon landing is how great the special effects really were. Okay, so let's skip that argument. Let's pretend we went to the moon. Personally, I think we did go to the moon.
Sure.
If you don't think we went to the moon, I'd love to hear from you, 530-605-4567. But the one I like better is, if we went to the moon, what exactly did we find there?
Oh.
There is probably my favorite conspiracy theorist is his name is Richard C. Hoagland. And Richard C. Hoagland believes that we are living in the ashes of a Type 2 civilization. For those of you who don't know what the types of civilizations are, actual scientists, not conspiracy theorists, came up with Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 civilizations. A Type 1 civilization is a civilization that is able to command the energy of their planet. Currently, we are not a Type 1 civilization. We are about 80% there. A Type 2 civilization is a civilization that's able to command the energy put off by their solar system. And a Type 3 civilization would be a civilization that's able to command the energy put off by their galaxy. So, Richard C. Hoagland believes that we are living in the ashes of a Type 2 civilization, and he believes that we found ancient structures on the moon, and he has lots of photographs to back these up, as well as photographs of Mars with ancient structures. Of course, there's the face at Cydonia and the pyramid at Cydonia, but a lot of other things as well. And so I have to say that's probably my favorite, but this is purely from a fantasy fanatical level. I wouldn't say that a huge amount of proof has been put in front of me, but it's definitely the proof I look for the most. Another one of the potential moon conspiracies has to do with the Nazis. Supposedly,
were they up to no good even on the moon?
Well, they had some fundamental ethical issues that probably would say yes, but I'm sure they turned on one another. My hair's blonder than yours. So apparently, the theory is this, that during World War II, Hitler was all about crazy technological advancements, chasing down the occult, all sorts of stuff, had his little fingers and everything. One of which was that they sent Nazis to the moon to build a base on the dark side of the moon. The idea is now that they lost the war, that they were separated from the people on the dark side of the moon, and now there is a Nazi breakaway civilization on the dark side of the moon that is working to undermine the Earth while still pursuing the Nazi belief systems. I like this one on probably purely a fictional level. I can imagine some great movies coming out of this. I saw a terrible, sci-fi quality film called Iron Sky. I expected it to be terrible, but it was absolutely hilarious.
Nazis in space?
Nazis in space. It's got a sequel. It's good. But, how'd they get there? I guess von Braun was the Nazi scientist who built the first rockets. A lot of people don't know this, but this is not conspiracy. But Nazis had the first rockets in combat. And after we won the war, von Braun came to the United States and helped us build our rocket program, which eventually got Apollo to the moon. So there is some level of, fact behind this. At least the foundations of this are there. But, getting to the moon in a ship made out of iron that's built like a Nazi tank, I find to be very unlikely. And the final one I got for you is the moon is manufactured.
Like doesn't exist at all.
No, like is a giant spaceship that is covered in dust and rock.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't seem to be going for that one.
I like it.
You like it, but this is new to you.
Doesn't tie in with the Rogue One, the new Star Wars movie, right?
No, but it should. It should.
Okay.
Maybe it does. Well, actually, several science fiction books of the early 20th century, including H.G. Wells' The First Men on the Moon, take place within a hollow moon inhabited by aliens. And then in 1970, two Soviet scientists took the premise a step further, proposing that the moon is actually a shell-like alien spacecraft built by extraterrestrials. Interestingly, though, according to astronomers, the moon, though admittedly enigmatic as far as celestial bodies, could maintain its mass and gravitational field if it lacked a dense core. So there is some science to back up the fact that if the moon had a fair amount of hollowness in it, it could still fulfill our gravitational mathematics and be true.
That's why it floats.
Well, part of the, yeah, yeah. It's the buoyancy. Yeah. Part of the reason why they think this is the deal is one theory is that when the Apollo lander landed on the moon, that it rang like a bell, and that's why they think.
Oh wow!
That's
any audio?
Well, it's in space, so I really always wondered about that one because not
It's
a lot
a
of
vacuum,
audio.
right?
Right. All right, well, we're coming up on break. If you're interested in talking to us about any of these topics, give us a call at 530-605-4567 or check us online at radiowasteland.us.
Sitting here with an empty bottle, sitting here and you come to mind, like you do almost every single day, like you do almost every single night. Well, I'm so drunk I'm laughing now, but I feel so sad that I could cry. That red sun is shining down, and I see an image of your face in the sky, in the sky. I've been staring at the sun, I've been blinded by your lucky star. Tell me now, where have you gone? Come out, wherever you are. Wherever you are, wherever you are, wherever you are, and the world starts spinning around.
All right, and welcome back to Radio Wasteland. If you're interested in calling in, the number is 530-605-4567. You can use that for any locally produced show here on KCNR 1460. I am your host, Chauncey Haworth, sitting in for Christopher Robin. We got Matt Matlock.
Hello.
Hello, Matt. So far today, we've discussed what we hope to cover on this show. And then we had an interesting little segment there about Bigfoot, where we got to hear actual big feet talking in the wild. Apparently, it's a lot of hooting and hollering.
Chilling.
It was chilling. Absolutely chilling, or potentially laughable.
There's a fine line.
There is a fine line between stupid and clever. So it's like, I don't know. I kind of hoped that Bigfoot would make some a little more roary. You know, the sounds that he was making was a little too Harry and the Hendersons for me, but I have to admit, if I was out in the wild and I heard a hootin' and hollerin' Bigfoot, I might be terrified. I might be more terrified that it was somebody messing with me, seeing how I've seen films like Wrong Turn and Deliverance.
People are scary. Yes.
People are definitely more scary than Big Feet.
The hairless Sasquatch.
Right, totally. Unfortunately, they're not nearly as reclusive, except for me, which must come with the body hair. You know, being that I'm Scottish and fairly hairy, it must lead to my reclusiveness nature.
I can see why you're interested in it.
Yeah, totally. I'm really just looking for a friend. And then in our next segment, we covered the moon. Probably too big of a topic for one segment, seeing how within that topic, we were discovering that each moon conspiracy is easily its own show. Did we go to the moon? When we got to the moon, was there anything there? Even a show about what the scientists consider the moon to be created by, because there are a couple of theories about that. You know, was the moon a body that collided with the Earth? Was it a asteroid that we captured? Was it a sister planetesimal? Or what's Pluto now? It's not a planet any longer.
It's an embarrassment.
A dwarf planet. yeah, it is an embarrassment. But this is a little off topic, but I was watching a documentary on Pluto, and when they got out there, due to tidal forces and a molten core from when Pluto was initially formed, they believe that under the icy surface of Pluto, there is probably a warm liquid ocean.
Wow. What kind of liquid?
Water. Oh. Meaning that of all places that life could exist in our solar system, Pluto is actually one of them. And this, once again, I feel the need to clarify as to if this is a conspiracy or if this is verified science. This is verified science. So we covered the moon. We covered Bigfoot. Anybody out there know of anything tying the two together? I would love to hear Bigfoot on the moon. Matt proposed this earlier. It's just a matter of time until the book is out. Bigfoot on the moon.
So far, there's one of us that might believe it.
Right. Me. You got to convince me. And so next week, we got a couple of new topics. One of the ones that I'd really like to cover, and I think kind of hits home to a lot of people, probably the legend, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, that most people believe in, ghosts and hauntings. What do you think of ghosts and hauntings?
I want to believe. I walk totally around hoping that one jumps up and tries to do something to me. Steal my soul, scratch my face, spook me, anything, move, throw a dish. I want to see it.
I'll go with the dish. I don't know if I want my face scratched or my soul devoured.
I want to believe.
You just want to believe. How molderish of you.
Well, yeah.
Way to fulfill the stereotype, man. Great.
No, I just don't believe it, and I think that it would be super cool.
Yeah, the reason why I probably believe this the most, and that most people believe it, is that, or believe in its possibility, is that we've seen so many people look at us straight in the face, people we know, people we trust, and they look at us straight in the face and they say, "This happened to me."
Oh, I get chills when I hear stories when people believe
me too
that it happened.
Right. And these are people I know, people I trust, and I believe that they believe. So I have a lot of faith in the fact that that goes on. Plus, there's a lot of potential possibilities. It doesn't necessarily have to be like on the radio show this morning. We were discussing, it could be a ghost, a spirit, or it could be residual energy that has nothing to do with supernatural or extra life. It might not have any intelligence whatsoever. It might just be an echo, a residual of the original event.
Since they say energy can't be destroyed.
Right. And then another is the stone tape theory, which is that this energy can be written onto stone or other materials, much like a vinyl record. And that situations can happen to pull those sounds and pull those energies back off of the stone. Another topic we'll also be covering is the 1963 assassination of JFK. Heard a little bit about him today with the moon, so I'm sure we'll be back to the moon. That'll be chock full of grassy knolls and magic bullets. We'll be discussing the hows and the whys. And, of course, the moons. What do you think of JFK? You think it was a madman, or you think it was a conspiracy? Or both?
I don't like the idea of our government taking...
You don't like the idea?
No, so I don't want to believe that.
I don't either. Although I do find it totally plausible. I find legends to be fun because I find it to be a broadening of my knowledge. If I find out that there is a Bigfoot, I feel that my knowledge has mind blown in a good way. If I find out that our government caused 9/11 or our government caused JFK to be killed, that is not knowledge that would make me happy. That is knowledge that would sadden me deeply and really make me feel like humanity had taken a huge step backwards.
Right. I did get kicked out of my 8th grade social studies class for suggesting that Lyndon Johnson had something to do with it.
Why would Lyndon Johnson do it?
At the time, I believed that he's the one who had everything to gain by getting rid of the current.
This was your 8th grade thesis?
I'm sure it wasn't backed by very many facts, but I got scolded.
That's funny. My wife in 8th grade had a pet sock monkey named Nixon.
Oh.
So maybe you guys can tie these things together somehow and maybe find some truth in there.
Wisdom in 8th grade.
Right. I really don't know much about JFK. I think, most of my interests lie in the supernatural and in the legends because it's so much more fun. But I will definitely do my homework and we'll make sure, and the next time I'm in here, I'm going to know some stuff. So you better be ready to call 530-605-4567 and argue with me. So you are listening to Radio Wasteland, your Northern California show about the unexplained, the mysterious, things that go bump in the night, and things in the night sky. We're happy you joined us. I hope you join us next week at 6 p.m. Monday nights on KCNR 1460.
I don't want no greenhouse, baby, no fall summer, no fall sun. I don't want no greenhouse, baby, I won't walk where the river don't run. And the river don't run, well, you broke its back, so don't ask how come. And the river don't run, people up your back in the desert sun. And the river don't run. I won't suck my life from a wiry electric bulb, no naked frown. I won't spend my night on fire waiting for you just to cool me down. And you cool me down to the frozen stare from the fridge's gown. And you cool me down in my despair from another town. And you cool me down. Baby, no fall summer, no fall sun. I don't want no greenhouse, baby, I won't walk where the river don't run. And the river don't run, though you broke its back, so don't ask how come. And the river don't